You know how companies often create a product, let's just say they create a phone for people to buy for, let's say, $500. People buy a phone all over the world for $500. This company created this phone for $500, people bought it. And then like 2, 3, maybe 4 months later, this company is like, hey, we could have built a better phone. And they actually go out and build a better phone. And then they replace the old phone with the new phone. People cannot buy the old phone anymore because the company's like, that phone wasn't really as good as we could make it. So here's the new phone and you can also buy it for $500 because we think people deserve this phone because this phone is way better. Better even, people who bought the old phone can actually turn it in or something and they can get the newer phone for free. They already paid the $500, so the company's like, yeah, people have the right to have the newest phone for the same amount of money because we don't think the old phone was that good. Well, I have news for you. That almost never happens. No, that just never happens. But that's exactly what Jetpack 7 did with Gods and Goddesses Redux. Hi there, fellow Dungeons & Dragons players and Dungeon Masters alike. Welcome to my channel once again. I know it's been a while since I've created videos, and I say that all the time. When it's a while, I create videos, but there's all kinds of external factors making sure I have a really hard time to create these videos. First of all, there is this illness in the world that makes sure that products don't really get to my physical doorstep, and right now they're getting back at my physical doorstep. So right now I actually have stuff to review, but I also need to read up on that stuff before I want to point it towards you guys, because I don't want to point you guys towards products I don't believe in. That's what I do. I point you guys towards third-party products that I believe in and I think you could or should spend your money on. A second reason right now why I'm not creating many videos is, you can probably see it, I'm sweating my damn ass off, and that is, there is a heat wave in Belgium, and I'm serious. It's like, it's almost 40 degrees outside every day right now, which is like 100 degrees Fahrenheit if I'm not mistaken. That's really hot for a Belgian dude like me. I'm not used to that heat. I cannot stand the heat, so I need to stay inside every day. And when I film, I need to do it very early in the morning. But if you see my previous video, if you've seen the end of my previous video, you know that I'm filming on in an old house in an attic, and there's like almost zero isolation right here. So it's right now, it's very early in the morning, and it's already freaking hot here. So I'm going to try my best to create this video for you, then edit it and get it on the YouTube. Once the heat wave is over, I'm sure I will be getting more videos out, because I have a pile of books piling up for you guys to see. Anyway, let's get to it. If you've been on my channel for a while now, you know I'm a big fan of a few companies. Jetpack 7 is one of them. Jetpack 7 are the creators of Gods and Goddesses. They have legendary dragons and they have masters and minions. And Jetpack 7 is one of those companies that really puts the effort in. They don't want to put out half-baked products. They don't want to put out bad stuff, and they don't want to put out a lot of stuff. I mean, they only have a handful of products. Like I said, the 3 main products they have, this one, Masters and Minions, and then the Legendary Dragons, are their 3 main books. It's a kind of company that doesn't put out a lot, but what they put out is just freaking awesome and very well done. And this is the first module they've ever created out in the public, as far as I know. Maybe they created some small stuff before that, I don't know. But this is the first real thing, if you want to call that. Gods and Goddesses is a module, and I've already reviewed this on my channel, so this is not going to be a full review of this module. It's just going to be about the Redux version. I'm gonna talk about a little bit about that. Anyway, Gods and Goddesses is just a book about gods and goddesses. If you play a paladin, if you play a cleric, or anybody who believes in a god, this book is for you. Also, as a dungeon master, there is deities in here, a lot of deities in here you can use. There's stat blocks for those deities. There is cleric options, paladin options. There's even a monk option or something weird in here. Anyway, there's a lot of options in here for people who want to create and play characters and campaigns that have like this high sense of deity in there. There's actually also just a few creatures in here, special items. Of course, there's magic items. When there's deities, there's magic items. There's NPCs, there's weapons in here, there's all kind of stuff, and just a bunch of deities together with their minions, together with their stats, with their powers, with their beliefs, with everything. All of the information is in here. It's in here, and this thing is really great. I reviewed it, I love it, I use it in my games. When somebody plays a cleric or a paladin, I always hand over this thing, and I'm always like, just take a look at it. If there's anything in there you want to use it. Feel free to use it because it's so ridiculously good. But then Jetpack 7 was like, nuh-uh, it's not good enough. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, no, it's just not good enough. I mean, it's thin. It's a bit thin, yeah. And it's just not enough content in there. And I'm like, there's enough content in here. I can play for years with this content. But they're like, no, it's not. There's not enough content in there. We want to redo it, and we want to call it Gods and Goddesses Redux. So they just went out and create another module called Gods and Goddesses Redux. It's actually the same module with extra. And to give you an idea how much extra, there's kind of a lot extra. There's like extra. Just to compare this for you. Oh my god, I'm sweating my freaking ass off right here. Just to compare this for you, the first one had exactly 100 pages, and the new one has where are the freaking page numbers? Where are the page numbers? Oh, almost 160 pages in here. And it's the same price, it's the same book. If you now type in Gods and Goddesses from Jetpack 7 in Google, you will find this one. Better even. And so you can only buy this one. This is now Gods and Goddesses. The old one is now a collector's item that's worth $1 billion. So if you want to wire me $1 billion through PayPal, make sure to send me an email or a comment. I will take those $1 billion and I will send you the old one. But this is the one you can get freely on Google or on the YouTube, on the internet. And it's bigger, it's better, and it's even better than that. People who have the old one, people who believed in Jetpack 7 in the beginning, who have the old one, they actually gotten a PDF or something like that. I don't know exactly what they got, but they got something, and everything that changed is in there. So they got a lot of free content. Okay, it's not the same. I mean, they don't have this physical copy. But Jetpack 7 as a small company actually went through a lot of effort to make sure that the people who bought this module are also happy with buying this module. And they got a lot of free content. And I absolutely love Jetpack 7 for that. So I always loved the first Gods and Goddesses for setting out Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga has always been one of my favorite deities, if she even is a deity per se, but it's always been one of my favorite deities, and they statted her out, they put it in a book, and she's still in this thing. But what they did was they didn't really change the content that was already there. Of course there's some minor changes here and there, but they didn't really change the content, they just added upon the content. So let's say you buy a brand new freaking Ferrari, and then Ferrari calls you and they're like, hey, we built this new spoiler and body kit, just come in and we'll just put it on your car for free. That's basically what they did. So I know my examples are really spot on with this one. I know, I'm doing my best. For example, they added a few gods. At first there were like a bunch of gods, and now there's a bunch of gods plus a few more. For example, there's now Thor. Thor is in here. You know, not the Thor from like the Marvel movies, but I'm like literally the god Thor in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. Thor, he's right here. He's actually also on the cover, right? He's right here, and yeah, they created an entire thing for Thor. And what they do is they create an entire introduction. They talk about his symbol. They talk about his alignment, which is chaotic good, by the way. They talk about clerics and worshippers and what they do and what codes they live by. Then there's this really good artwork. Then they stat out Thor with this giant page of stats, and that's what they do for every DT, and they added a few DTs in there, which is absolutely great. By the way, look how cool Baba Yaga is. She's so cool, she's so unmistakably freaking cool. Another DT they have put in is Saraswati. Saraswati, who is a kind of an instrument playing neutral goods DT. I do not know a lot about her, but I just wanted to point this one out because Jetpack 7 for me really always stands out for their artwork. There's a few companies that stand out for their artwork, but what Jetpack 7 does with their artwork is actually they have this brightness to it. It's all the colors, everything. It's just so beautifully well made. It's so, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I just think the artwork, they really put a lot of effort in here, and I think they spend a lot of money on art, because this is all of this art is not stock art. I don't think so. I've never seen this art, so I don't think it's stock art. I think it's all like artists creating art for this this book. For example, here's another one. Look how great these colors pop out. It's just like, reminds me of one of those, you know, one of those comic books from Marvel or DC or Star Wars comic books type of thing. It's really cool. It really stands out for that, and it's really well worth your money for that reason. So other than a few new DTs, like 4 new DTs and a few changes and everything to the book, they also added in an entirely new thing, which is mini adventures and locations. They have 4 mini adventures in here, of course, which have to do with a DT or more DTs. They're like 1 or 2 page adventures. Really great to get things started with this book. And they also have locations, for example, the Temple of Ishtar. There is this entire temple which is entirely mapped out, and it's all locations in this temple are written out with how they look, and you can just start off by using this in your campaign. Just place it in your campaign somewhere. It's a temple, you can place it anywhere. So between the old version and the new version of the book, there's 50 new, not 15, 50, like a 5 and a 0, new pages for you from the old one, and they just created it out of pure love. And I have to say, I already said this before, and I'm going to say this again, I'm not going to entirely review the book again, because I already have a review on it, and it is in the link somewhere here. I will just put it somewhere in the video if you want to see the review about Gods and Goddesses on my channel. Make sure to check it out. It still stands, it's still a great book. I'm not going to review this thing entirely again, because it's the same thing, it's just better, and there's just more. And I just wanted to point this out to you, because there's a lot of people that don't know of its existence. I have a few people that actually have the old Gods and Goddesses module, the old Gods and Goddesses book, in their possession, and they use it quite often when they play a cleric or a paladin, and they don't know that this one exists. I mean, they probably didn't check their mail, or they're not on Twitter or anything, you know, that much. So they don't know this exists. And if you haven't picked up Gods and Goddesses before, this is your chance to pick it up. If you haven't picked it up, and you are a cleric player or a paladin player, or you're one of those dungeon masters that's really into adding deities and gods and stuff like that, powerful beings into your campaign, this one is the one to go with. Really, it is just built for that. This is the first thing Jetpack 7 ever created. This is basically the last thing Jetpack 7 ever created up until now. It's really worth your money. Make sure to check it out. I will put a link in the description below. And there's not much more to be said about that, because Jetpack 7 is an awesome company that makes awesome things. They don't put out a lot, they just put out good stuff, and they're well worth your money. Every time I get one of their modules, one of their books in my possession, I just look at the cover and I'm like, this is going to be so freaking awesome. And every time they blow my freaking mind. So they're just such a freaking good company. And if you're into playing clerics or paladins, or you're one of those dungeon masters that likes to use DTs, make sure to pick it up. I hope your inspiration may guide you.